En esta película, esta es su tercera película en la historia, es una gran película, y es Sam Claflin. Y nos acompaña también la protagonista de la película, ella da vida a Blancanieves. Creo que ustedes la conocen muy bien, se ha convertido en un fenómeno, sobre todo en las películas adolescentes, y es Kristen Stewart. Welcome, guys. Nice to have you here in Mexico. Thank you. So I think I would like to start. Tell me when you're ready, when you have. ¿Pueden por favor dejar de tomar fotos celulares para empezar la conferencia? Gracias. Are you ready? Yeah, you ready for the translation? So I would like to start this conference by asking you guys, this is a totally different version of what we've heard about Snow White. So what would you say is the biggest twist and what makes really different this version from other versions we've seen before?
Everyone thinks that we're taking Snow White and really turning it on its head and doing something really dark and twisted, and we are. But at the same time, I think that we do stay really, really true to who you imagine Snow White to be classically. We have a full-on, in-your-face action movie that is also so unbelievably enchanting and beautiful. And at the forefront of the story, you have a girl who is a girl, not who's pretending to be a boy. It's like, you know, to be a really strong female character nowadays, I think that a lot of them are just written as loud and like a really lame imitation of a guy. And I think that we have the coolest, like the most sort of original and modern way of doing an action movie about a girl. And I really love that. What do you think, Sam?
I mean, we basically just reinvented this classic tale that everyone's sort of grown up with, whether you're a 4-year-old woman or a 10-year-old boy. I think everyone has read Snow White, and what we've done, we've reinvented the classic characters that everyone knows, and I suppose you could say we've made them a lot darker. Everyone there's so many layers to each character. No one's one-dimensional. Everyone has been on a journey when you meet them for the first time. And I think what's incredible with the director, the way he's approached it is he's created this fantastical world that, I think does the story a lot of justice, and it's made it a lot more accessible to the modern audience.
I mean, with a story that's so fundamental about good and evil, you need to be able to show the dark to make the light gorgeous. It's like not watered down. We take Snow White just as you know her and kick the crap out of her, stomp on her heart, and like put her back in her chest and see if it still beats. And it does.
When you first got the script, were you expecting that?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times you read stuff. The whole thing as an actor is you want to get as close to that experience as you possibly can. With a big, huge, universal, expensive movie, typically, like, my thought was that we would have to fake it quite a bit. And Rupert put us in a world that, like, we had the most real elements to respond to. And I was freezing and uncomfortable and in pain and scared the whole time. And anytime you see that, to watch genuine experience on screen is so much more interesting than people faking it, and that's Rupert, that's definitely the director.
¿Les parece si pasamos con las preguntas? La primera pregunta es de Rosa Barca de TV Azteca. Hechos.
Agachada, por favor.
Sí, tiene traducción si quieres.
¿Se pueden sentar, por favor?
Sentada, por favor.
Kristen, tú tienes fans alrededor de todo el mundo, te siguen a través de Twitter y muchos han pedido que tú tengas un Twitter. ¿Por qué no darles ese gusto a los fans? Esa es una pregunta. Y la segunda pregunta, ¿qué opinas del contacto con la prensa? ¿Lo ves más, te gusta estar ante las cámaras, hablar con los reporteros o es más una obligación para ti?
Sentada, por favor.
Siéntate, por favor.
¿Se pueden sentar?
Gracias.
I think the most interesting thing about me right now is that Snow White is coming out. And I think it's really weird when actors suddenly start to believe that they're so interesting and so awesome that they're worth selling. I don't I don't have a problem with Twitter, I don't have a problem with social media. If I wasn't in this position, I would probably have one. It's just, well, maybe not a Twitter. But I just think that as soon as you start giving things away that are so very yours, you don't know who you are anymore. It's like, and no, this doesn't bother me. Like right now, this makes total sense to me. I'm so excited to be talking about what I'm talking about. I mean, this movie is like, it is everything I wanted it to be, and that is so rare. You know, when you start off something, you usually make excuses or concessions. You go, okay, well, we did the best we could, and it retains this spirit, and it has this, but this is everything I wanted it to be when I set out to do it. And so, to be sitting here talking about it, like I'm like vibrating. I'm so excited about it. But if you started asking me about like what I did on my Sundays, I'd be like, why? Why do you care? I do what you do. Like.
Muy bien, siguiente pregunta es de René Gómez de Telefórmula.
La primera para ambos. ¿A qué edad fue su primer contacto con esta historia de Blancanieves y qué les dejó en lo personal? Y la segunda es para Kristen, que hoy en la prensa salió de que a su llegada ignoró a algunos fans que se encontraban en el aeropuerto. Entonces, ¿qué realmente pasó? Y esto.
Les agradecería que intentaran no hacer preguntas de ese tipo porque estamos aquí para hablar de la película, por favor.
Okay, my first introduction to the story was basically my parents bought me and my three brothers this book of fairy tales, which wasn't, you know, your ordinary book of fairy tales. It was called The Twisted Tales. So it's basically all these classic fairy tales, you know, the Disney, whatever, everyone knows and loves with all their pretty flowers. But basically this version was very gruesome, a lot of blood and gore. And, you know, I was about 7 years old or something. I remember reading Cinderella specifically, and, you know, at the end of the fairy tale in this book, the prince finds out that Cinderella wasn't actually a princess and she was a maid, so he chops her head off. So, I mean, I kind of grew up with the darker version, the darker retellings of these stories. So once, you know, I had the opportunity to read this script and, you know, meet Rupert, and he kind of talked me through his ideas and showed me a lot of the imagery that he kind of wanted to, you know, get across. I was, you know, kind of, I felt like I kind of lucked out, you know. I felt I'd really sort of found my true path in this career. I think that's everything. Yeah.
I feel so far away from you right now. It's like, where are we? I was not familiar with the fairy tales growing up. I knew Snow White from Disney movies. Princess stories were not my favorite, to be honest. I remember watching it, but like I had to rewatch the movie just out of curiosity before we went to London to shoot. So I wasn't rediscovering anything. It made sense to me why the stories lasted so long, but it wasn't something that was striking a chord with me because of what I grew up with. And, you know, it's a funny thing with me and my fans. They all just think I'm such a jerk. No. I think they get it. I think when we came in yesterday at the airport, it was like there were police everywhere. If they think that if I choose my way through airports, sadly mistaken. I would love to be able to walk through an airport on my own. I would love to be able to choose. Yeah, I would love to be able to choose where I walked, but I don't in those situations. So I'm really sorry, and I hope to see you guys later. We have a fan event at some point, hopefully. I love coming to Mexico for anything to do with the films I'm involved with. It's always the most, and I'm not just saying this because I'm here in front of you, it's like the most welcoming and absolutely passionate, in your, you know, so unabashedly happy, and that makes us really comfortable, and I'm sorry.
Have you tried Mexican food yet? Have you tried Mexican food yet?
Oh, I grew up in Los Angeles, babe.
Muy bien, siguiente pregunta es de Emily Loza de Notas para ti.
Hola chicos, yo quisiera preguntarle a Kristen que hay una escena en donde llega a
a la isla de las hadas y realmente muestran una cara sorprendida si ella se imaginaba este paisaje así, si creía que una tortuga iba a tener como plantas, no sé cómo se imaginaba y con qué. Ella dice que no creía en las princesas, sino con qué personaje se hubiera sentido bien.
Well, I don't think turtles can really sprout flowers either. But I think it's really remarkable that Rupert presented it in a way that did feel like it could exist in some parallel universe. It was like pretending to be someone else and then allowing other people to watch you do it is ridiculous. And so it only works if you feel like you've got a responsibility to a world that, and to people that exist and that are really whole. And you know, the levity in the movie is so in your face. It so celebrates life that it took it a step further. It wanted, and you know, it's like we all have vivid imaginations, and you know, sometimes you can look at things and go, you see them to be more, I mean, they look more magical to you than they actually are in real life. And so I think that it's sort of everything in the movie. The Dark Forest is only really as scary as you imagine it to be. And so Snow White is, I think you can probably see the story kind of through her eyes. And the Enchanted Forest just really offers a nice balance to the Dark Forest. It's like it is life. And you know, we're doing a fantasy movie, and so it's cool to push. It's cool to push the, you know. It would be so boring if it was just a normal turtle. It wouldn't be as cool. It wouldn't be as beautiful.
So tell us a little bit about your experience with CGI in this movie.
Well, I mean, like Kristen has already mentioned, there wasn't huge amounts of CGI that we kind of, you know, I don't know what the word is, sorry. But basically, Rupert had kind of created these worlds, you know, maybe during the sanctuary scenes where you do have all the bunnies, you know, it's quite hard to train that many bunnies to walk in time with each other. So kind of go and look at this white stag with unicorn ears, you know, it's so obviously some elements do have to be kind of added on afterwards. But I think genuinely my only experience with that was when I was kind of fighting some imaginary birds. But yeah, so I mean, I never really kind of had to imagine, you know, there was no acting involved. You kind of turn up to work every day and you see the real castle and you can feel, you know, dirt between your toes. And yeah, it was a fantastic experience from start to finish.